Ex et bonum. May the peace and goodness of God be raining down upon you today. Special welcome from Treasure Valley. Yep, we're here in the Treasure Valley, and we're known as the Treasure Valley because Spudlandia mines every rich mineral on the planet. I think we even have some rare earth minerals that get mined here, so it's no wonder then that we're known as the Gem State. Hey, with all me heart, I love that you want to go deeper into the Christian faith, the Christian way. And a special shout out to all my listeners in Australia today. This is the fourth in a new series, Conversations with my friend Mark. We've known each other for 37 years. We love to get together and talk theology and spirituality and the Christian life and church life. First, there are professional ways to do things, and there are goofy, sloppy, patchwork ways of doing things. And when it comes to doing your roof, don't go with the sloppy. In the end, it'll just cost you more money. It'll take you more time later. So do it right the first time. When it comes to your Southern California roofing problems, call Gallerini Roofing at 714-244-6567. They do residential and commercial roofing jobs. They're insured, licensed, bonded. They have decades worth of experience. Gallerini Roofing knows how to do the job with excellence and professionalism. So like I say, give them a ring at 714-244-6567. Go with them and get the job done right. Gallerini Roofing, a proud sponsor of the Uncensored Unprofessor. Good to have you with me again today, Mark. It's an honor, it's a joy, it's a privilege to have you here in the Uncensored Unprofessor studio.
Yeah, it's been fun. I'm really enjoying it. Looking forward to our conversations.
Let's think together about lying and truth-telling. When I turned 40, I don't remember people lying to me because I don't remember asking whether there was going to be a birthday party. But I do remember being shocked. With some friends and my father-in-law, we had gone over to the park to play over the line. I forget if it was 3-on-3 or 4-on-4. We went to the softball park there and played over the line for an hour and a half. When we came home, well, I knew it was my birthday, so I figured there'd be some kind of gathering, but when we came home and we were getting ready to eat, they had me sit down, and then out of the blue, my mom walked in. And it was so unexpected, I was actually stunned. I could hardly say anything because my mom at the time lived up in the Seattle area. And I think they had all kept a secret from me. Like I say, I can't remember asking, hey, are you throwing me a party? Yeah. But there was that notion of secrecy and not revealing the truth in order to have a good time and surprise Ed. Yeah. And I think sometimes super militant, just to get the ball rolling here, super militant or super, I don't know if it's virtuous, I suppose on the Pharisaic angle even, Christians who say, well, maybe that was a violation of integrity to not have been up front. And I want to crack the thing open by saying sometimes there's a place in life for concealing things or maybe even lying.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Night before last, our neighbor gave us this delicious, zucchini bread. And Christine, my wife, does not eat a lot of sweets, but so there's this big loaf, and she said, honey, go ahead and have most of it, just slowly eat through it, but leave me a little bit. So I said, okay, that sounds good. And so that evening, the day before she got, daytime before she got home at night, I took the whole loaf, but she wanted me to leave her a little bit. So I left her about a 2x2 inch piece of the bread that I kept out where it was the other loaf bread. Uh-huh. And I hid the other one in the refrigerator. And I said, that was so good, but I did leave you some. And it was just worth it to see her expression, and she laughed.
Because when she laughed when she realized you got over on her.
Yes, because she really wow, you sure liked that, didn't you?
How big was the loaf?
It was probably bigger than a standard banana bread loaf. It was big. So she's thinking, is that pretty much all you did? Is eat bonbons and your loaf all day long? So that was great. And I remember one time she said it was one of my birthdays, and she was going to gather all the family together, and I was totally oblivious to the whole thing. And she said, I'm feeling it for Mexican food tonight. So we went out to a Mexican restaurant that we like, and lo and behold, there's my cousin. I'm like, oh my gosh, Doug, what are you doing here? And he just laughed. Well, gosh, I like this place. Well, and then 10 minutes later, there's my aunt and uncle. I'm like, oh, I see.
Okay.
But it was fun, and I'm glad she did that. I was pretty naive to think, I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't even thinking about it. I thought it was just chance. So, but it was fun. The motivation, the purpose was to bless and to laugh. It wasn't what I would call trying to deceive.
Right.
And sometimes if you have a birthday and it's going to be a surprise party, you tell everyone, don't mention anything to it.
Right.
And they'll ask questions, and it's very surreptitious, and you're like, I'm glad they did that because it was fun. The intention was the right intention.
Right. Yeah. It's funny you tell that story because yesterday we went to a extended family birthday party, and when we were pulling up, the person for whom the party was being thrown was being pulled up, and Tanya looked at her and said, "Surprise!" Because we're like, should we have been here 5 minutes earlier? Was it a surprise, or did we just ruin the surprise? Or
yes,
yeah. So I guess then the question to ask on stories like that is this just a matter of the ends justifying the means? In other words, if the goal is to make someone happy, it's okay to lie, right?
Yeah. Boy, that's a difficult one because I think there's a lot of times, like in the case of the going out for Mexican food, Christine did not lie. She just didn't tell me.
Right.
And some people could probably take it to that point and said, you withheld truth.
Right.
So that is lying. And I'm not in agreement with that. Sometimes my dad's in a memory home, and he worries about various things. He's worrying about, they give him breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but he worries about paying for it. And I said, no, Dad, it's covered. Everything's fine. And there's certain things I do to relieve him, but there's certain things I don't tell him regarding the nature of the whole thing.
Right.
I don't want him to worry. I think that's different when, let's say I say something or did something actually wrong, and I try to rationalize it and say, this person would probably be hurt if they knew that I said that about him or did this. So if they mention anything, I'm just say, no, I never said that. So I think there's some outright lying, and there's some times where I don't have to tell them the entire scenario. I think, as with children, let's say, if you're talking about hell and they're 5 years old, wouldn't it behoove you to wait because they have such vivid imaginations?
Right.
There's times when you're talking about sexual things, and you don't want to unnecessarily get them thinking about things way before the time. Then it's a discretion kind of thing, as opposed to I'm going to deceive, I'm going to withhold truth. No, I'm not. I'm going to have the tact and discretion to say this isn't really necessary. Even
hearing you say all those examples, I think each and every one we've mentioned so far would be framed by love, right?
Yes.
The surprise party for me was a loving thing. The surprise party yesterday was a loving thing. You teasing, spoofing your wife on the banana bread was a loving thing. You not telling your dad all the details about the billing of the home where he's staying is born of love. So that, I guess I've never even thought of it this way. And we'll move to ethical models, but love would be a good determinant as to the nature of truth telling and lying.
I think that's
way
good
to frame it.
I really think that's good because
Yeah.
I think there's sometimes you're lying to avoid responsibility,
Ooh,
consequences, to manipulate,
right.
and that's quite different when you're talking about moral equivalency. When
That's
you're
good.
saying, I want to bless them, I want them to laugh, they'll understand.
Right.
I think a lot of jokes, they have you going one direction and then turn at the last minute. It's the nature of the humor that so much. My concern would be if a person starts to broaden that and start to rationalize and
Right.
saying, I'm lying, but it's for a good cause.
Right.
And now Pandora's box has been opened,
Right.
and it can go further than that because we all have in our mind what a good cause
Sure.
would be. And so,
My benefit.
yes, my benefit.
My benefit's a good cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Well, we know the scriptures say to be holy like God is holy. The scriptures say over and over to be like God. We could start there, or I was trying to think of the Ten Commandments. I don't know if there's a express commandment against lying, but there's an express commandment about bearing false witness,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So there's all kinds of biblical precedent for the aim of truth telling, or the value of truth telling, the virtue of truth telling. All kinds of prohibitions, all kinds of stories probably that show where lying eventually wraps back around on the person. So we do have biblical precedent
Yeah.
to set up some kind of moral standard.
I think there's more than people realize in there. There's a lot about truth, but there's more about lying than I realized.
Okay.
Couple of scripture, Ephesians 4:25, put away lying, speak everyone truth to his neighbor. Ephesians 4:15, speak the truth in love. Psalm 51:6, David says to God, you desire truth in the innermost being. Which all of that implies when he speaks of truth to not lie.
Right.
And in the New Testament, be obedient to the truth, practice the truth, walk in the truth. So it implies not lying.
Right.
A scripture that I like that I think is interesting in 2 Thessalonians 2:10, they did not receive the love of the truth so as to be saved.
Ooh.
And it's beyond simply walking in the truth. It's actually saying, I want to have a love for the truth.
Right.
I want to have a love for the truth.
Yeah.
God asks us to do that.
Yeah. Even you framing that makes me think of people I've known across my life who, well, I played golf with an old guy, 3-4 weeks ago. And when he asked me what I did and I explained that I had been a theologian, am a theologian, he says, well, I believe in God. Right.
Yeah.
And he proceeded for the next 8 or 9 holes to proceed to tell me how he loves God and church is okay and all, but he believes in God. Like the standard was belief in God.
Yes.
Which is not the same as the passage you referenced about loving the truth.
Loving the truth, yes. I've met many people. They don't love his word, his son, or his children, but they love God.
Yeah, they don't love the word, his moral commandments.
Yes.
His call for integrity, but
Yes.
but they believe in God and they're good with God. Jesus is just all right with me. Jesus is just all right. Oh yeah, right.
When it's safe, it sounds fine.
Yeah,
They seem
Yeah.
magnanimous.
They
Yes.
imagine themselves standing before God, I guess, on the day of judgment. Just remember, I believed in you.
Yes.
Oh my.
Oh, yes.
Human nature.
Yes. I think a lot of times lying isn't taken that seriously. I mean, when you compare it to something like murder in the world system, it would seem like one of those minor ones. Hey, that was just a little white lie.
Right.
And it would be easy to think that God really doesn't put it up there very high, and yet he doesn't really look at it as something that's minor. Proverbs 6:16, 6 things the Lord hates, 7 that are detestable to him. One of them is a lying tongue.
Yeah.
When you think about it, he hates it, and it's detestable to him.
Right.
That's pretty big. one of the reasons I think it's interesting, I think lying facilitates a lot of the other evils.
Ooh, that's good.
So if you're a murderer and you're a thief and you live in a world where you can't lie, the Justice Department is going to come and say, did you do this?
Right.
And you're going to have to say yes. But
That's good.
really, it tag teams and allows and facilitates all sorts of other evils because they know, hey, I've got the option. They can't prove it. I'll say I
Right.
didn't do it.
Right.
So what seems kind of more innocuous is actually facilitating much greater sins.
That's
it has to
excellent.
be tag teamed with those.
That's excellent
you
because
know?
last week we were thinking together about the societal levels and the fabric of society. And I know from talking with my father-in-law for 40 years, who's a political scientist, that economies and cultures are founded on trust. And if you have lying as something acceptable, you start to undo not only maybe your relationship with your neighbor, but you start to trust the person you start to distrust the person at the gas station or the grocery market or the person with whom you're doing a business transaction because, well, maybe they're lying to you. Maybe they hand you the carton of eggs and there's only 11 in there, but there's 12.
Yes.
Or maybe they manipulated maybe you're only getting 0.9 gallons instead of a full gallon because someone rigged the way that pump works. And eventually that starts to erode the very fabric of the culture. And then people start getting defensive and they start getting angry. They start looking for ways to maybe even get back on the other person, whether the other person did anything or not. It creates a whole attitude of distrust. I love that. So you said that.
Yeah.
Lying facilitates all the other ones.
All the
That's
other
good.
ones. I talked with a gal that she's from another country, and she said, you can't trust paperwork. If I buy a house, if I do this, if I do that, is it real? You imagine how the economy
Yeah.
really slows down when you cannot rely and
Right.
trust on the
Right.
basics because people are lying.
Right.
So
Well, and obviously that shows up in something as complex as the stock market. I mean,
yeah,
the stock market will go up, down day, up, down, one down the other day because of the news that breaks that touches upon people's trust.
yes,
Do I trust in the value of the dollar? Do I trust that the government's trying to do the best thing by us?
yes.
Do I trust that we're not headed into World War III? All those trust issues go to truth-telling eventually.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It goes back to that. We were discussing today in a group on trust. It was a fun discussion, and saying it needs integrity, wisdom. I can go to an auto mechanic and trust him that he's honest, but maybe he doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
And so when I trust somebody, I'm trusting his integrity. I'm trusting his ability and a lot of other things. When those start falling apart,
Right.
and he's covering for himself in mistakes and lying, then all of a sudden everything else falls apart. I can't trust him.
We went to an auto mechanic in Southern California. I'll bet it was 20 years.
Yeah.
And he always would have the parts that he changed out in a tub. Whether it was spark plugs or a belt or something else that he had fixed for me, he would have the things from my car in a plastic tub to show me that that those were really taken out of my car and replaced.
Yes.
And it always helped foster that sense of trust together. I never felt like he was trying to get over on me.
Yes. Yeah. And when people make mistakes or they do something rude or insensitive or whatever, they come to me and say, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah, we all make mistakes. Sure, I forgive you. But it's, if he tries to lie his way out and manipulate the situation, well, you see, here's what really happened, then I'm like, okay, I just don't trust him. It hurts the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It
it's the word that I've been landing on since COVID, because COVID just shattered my trust in the government, is fidelity.
Yes.
And the need for the precious quality of fidelity in relationships between people. I think traditionally fidelity would have been something we would talk about for marriage, which is a good place.
Yeah.
But I think fidelity, again, is something that we need broadly in culture for just life to work together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right?
It's a challenge. I don't want to be cynical, but I don't want to be naive. There's a sweet spot in there somewhere.
Right.
And you've got, in John it says, Jesus said, the devil is the father of lies. In 1 John it said, all the world lies in the power of the evil one. And if you combine those two ideas, that means the ones that's over the power of this earth, in one sphere at least,
right.
God overall, is the father of lies. That would say something to me that I live in a world that's literally swimming in lies. The very foundation of everything is built on lies.
Right.
There is no God. You are the center of the universe. All these things are coming at the very fabric.
Trust us, we will keep you safe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you combine those, and it's like, wow, the society starts falling apart in ways that it's hard to really measure what took place, but some of it is that fidelity, I think, in that it's such an important fabric. There's two other verses that show the importance.
I want to hear those, but I just want to jump in because the father of lies goes to Genesis in the garden, right?
Yes.
When they see the fruit, and he says, "Oh, come on now." He knows that when you eat that, your eyes will be open and you'll be like God. So his speech to them was lying speech that plunged the whole thing into a
wow. That's a good way to look at it.
A toilet, as I would tell my students in theology class. We're all swimming in this toilet. Thank you, Adam and Eve. Right?
Yes, I like that because a lot of people focus on the devil as the tempter,
right?
But he does a lot of work regarding lies and accusations also.
Oh, man.
Not just temptations.
Right.
And if it's amazing, you look at entire nations that are in chaos.
Yeah.
And some of it you can trace back to believed lies.
Yes.
The very culture, the very traditions that some of them are founded on, they have believed a lie, and their entire culture is falling apart.
Right.
Just by a believed lie. The devil doesn't even have to be active. He sows that lie. They believe it. He can walk away and just let destruction happen.
And the implications and ramifications and outworkings of that one lie can wreck an entire society.
Yes.
He was a murderer from the beginning, right?
Yes.
I think that's at least to Cain and Abel, but more likely it's the murder of Adam and Eve in the garden, again, through a lie.
That's good.
That got them driven out of the garden.
Yeah. I think it's important to do that where you don't just look at some child saying a lie and you teach them not to, but this is on a global scale affecting entire nations, societies.
Right.
They believed a particular lie and...
Right. Well, and that's why, and this was such a battle for me as a podcaster for the last 8 years, 6 years really, but 8 years of trying to say, hey folks, as Christians, it's appropriate that we hold the powers to account. No, we don't have coercive power over them. No, we're not going to say, do this or you're going to hell, but we have the right to say, hey, tell us the truth. And if we don't demand that they tell us the truth, we might eventually be culpable of the wickedness that they're doing. And just one or two stupid lies, because as it turns out, they were pretty stupid lies, plunged society into a 2.5 year free fall that, I mean, it's going to take generations to heal from.
Yes.
So for leaders even, again, being salt and light, which I was pleading for show on end for years on end, pleading for leaders to tell us the truth and that we demand the truth is huge to having just a functioning society, let alone any notion of some sort of Christian presence within.
Yes. It's almost a barometer for me. I'll hear some politician say a lie. He'll get caught in it. and he'll move on.
Right.
No harm done.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's where the sheeple are at this point.
Yeah.
No harm done. We all lie. We all,
Well, right. And then, yeah. Well, all politicians lie.
yeah.
So we're giving them all a pass, or we're
Yes.
saying maybe we should all not be gullible with regard to politicians. I mean,
Yeah.
Tanya thinks that I'm a pessimist. I think I'm a realist. But it's that notion of not wanting to be naive. Like, okay, you're actually looking me in the eye and saying this to me. I don't want to have bad faith. I also don't want to be naive.
Yes. Yeah. And I think you've mentioned in the past the idea of once a person doesn't believe in God or society, that truth becomes a human construct.
Oh,
merely.
my gosh. Yeah.
Now the end justifies the means.
Yeah.
And it goes further and further from there.
Oh, it's crazy. It just it spirals into a war real fast.
Yeah. I heard the concept of you need to choose between team and truth. A lot of people choose their team because they believe that it's everything else is simply a human construct. There is no absolute truth. So once you decide that, you do everything for your team, whether it's your political party, your race, your country, your particular financial needs and desires. It is all built up upon that. And then you have entire societies and people. The ends will justify the means because they say in their mind and rationalize, yeah, this is a lie, but it's helping my team.
It's for the team.
It's for the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think that's a decided strategy. People who've listened to my show for any amount of time have heard me explain with great nuance and care why I vote Republican and not Democrat.
Yeah.
But the minute I feel like the Republicans, and I'm wary of them too, which I've explained in great, the minute I feel like they're looking me in the eye and lying to me straight up, I'll turn on them in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
So as I've said so many times in shows, this is all provisional for me. Yeah. This could turn on a dime because my allegiance is ultimately to Christ.
Yeah.
And then we work from that, not to the tribe, not to the GOP, not to Spudland, and I love where I live, but if we get those priorities messed up, it just goes off the skid so fast.
I respect people when I listen to them when they're discussing politics, and if it's my party or my person that I respect, and they did something stupid, and they call them out on it versus, no, we're about supporting the GOP on this show, so that it gets a pass.
Right.
And I don't respect that as much.
Right.
I'm like, no, I love truth. And if my team, if the party or the whatever that I've decided on is doing wrong, I want to know.
Right.
I want to know.
Well, and I think, so I've been reading 600 pages of this N.T. Wright book on the resurrection, and he has at times and places talked, but not for very long, about the politically subversive nature of Christianity in the first century and the centuries to follow. And the mere fact that we would say Jesus is Lord, or wow, if even more poignantly, if you say Jesus is King, that eventually is a challenge to a president or a premier or a king, right?
Yeah.
Because I want to be a good citizen, but ultimately my allegiance is to Christ. And in fact, I preached a sermon once on the 4th of July at a church in Orange, and I said, we can be good citizens because we're Christians, and because our allegiance is to Christ, that gives us the freedom and the power to call human leaders into account. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not trying to establish a Christian theocracy. Yeah. No, I'm not a Reconstructionist, a Christian Reconstructionist, where I want to force with the police and army a Christian sensibility or a Christian worldview, certainly the Christian religion, no. But it's the fact that I answer to Christ that gives me a perspective that I can go, hey, King, that's immoral.
Yes.
Whereas if, to your point, tribe is first, and I'll do whatever to bless the tribe and prosper the tribe, then I can give the king a free pass when he's a liar.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's huge.
It's huge. Yeah. And it's not treated as minor with God.
No.
It's serious.
Yeah.
Because he sees the ramifications globally, not just, oh, this guy lied to me.
Right.
On a bigger basis.
What's other? You said you had a couple other
more
scripts. Let me hear
just
those.
Showing that God doesn't look at it as minor. Revelation 21:27. There's the New Jerusalem. No one who practices abomination or lying shall enter it.
Ooh.
Amazing. He grabbed that one for not entering Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem. And Revelation 22:15 is describing with a list those that are outside of the New Jerusalem. Those outside. And listen to this list that lying is put with. Those on the outside are immoral persons, sorcerers, murderers, idolaters, and everyone who loves and practices lying. Isn't that right on the amazing list?
Yeah.
It's not about little white lies and insignificance, and God holds them as very important in the idea of holiness and righteousness.
And the idea of judgment, the idea of his kingdom come, the idea of what the resurrected life is going to be like. I can't, when I think about the eschaton, when I think about life on earth in our resurrected state, just to say there'll be no lying is almost impossible to get my head around.
Yeah.
Right?
What a different world.
Isaiah, let the government be upon your shoulders. The government will be upon his shoulders. We sing that with Handel's Messiah.
Yes.
Or they do. That is so amazing to think, to serve a king in a kingdom where there'll be no lying.
Yes.
We'll just be telling the truth to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, it's remarkable because like I say, of the toilet that I feel like I live in, and that's fostered by media, by technology. God knows what's going to happen with AI and how we're going to have to discern AI. I think one way I've thought about this is it may be that we have to, as Christians, refuse anything that comes through social media altogether.
Yes.
Until we know how there may be eventually algorithms that sort out algorithms that go, this is AI generated or this is factual. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They'll have to do that, right?
Yeah.
But at first, because of the sheeple nature of human beings, they're going to believe every single thing that comes across social media.
Yes.
Right?
Oh, yes.
So the notion that there'll be none of that, like I say, I truly can't even get my imagination that the kingdom of Christ is going to be blessed that way.
I feel like I'm a fish, and it's part of the water that I swim in. It is so natural to know they are trying to con me. They're trying to manipulate things. When you spoke of the media, I think there was a time, more so than today, that the media was there to expose reality and truth. I think there's so much power in controlling the narrative today. It's one of the most important things for governments, that they have a whole class of people that are not there to speak truth. They're there, a lot of the journalists now, they are there to manipulate public opinion.
Yeah.
They are there to obfuscate truth.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an outright lie. Usually it's a manipulation of the nature of the reality.
Right.
So that, yes, there are some truths in it,
right,
but it's been phrased in such a way to favor the narrative. And I think, and that's why I think they call them prostitutes, is...
Oh, that's good.
They are paid to lie.
Yeah.
I would hate to... It's so sad, but it's... they are paid to lie. You're going to come up with this team. You're on our team because we're paying you, and here's what we want out of you. Make everything go this direction in this narrative with this agenda. I don't care what it is. And so there's important things that need to be said that never get said. And so I'm aware of that whenever I'm dealing with media. One day there's some terrorists, and then 6 months later, those same people are freedom fighters.
Right.
I'm like, oh, I need to be
Right.
a discerning person needs to be word savvy and
Right.
be aware, not in a total cynicism.
Well,
but
to your point,
this is the world.
To your point, this was the gift of Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, for the horrors that were inflicted upon the nation and the planet for 4 years, the gift of Joe Biden has been the near total destruction of establishment media.
Yeah.
Their ratings are so in the tank right now. Journalists are being laid off left and right.
Yeah.
Network executives are trying to figure out how to rebrand. How can they possibly get back any kind of slice of the market? More and more people are turning to podcasts. That's its own issue. But the good thing is I think the trust for media is at an all-time low in America, and it needs to be for what they just did. For what they just did to us,
Yes.
and for how long they've done it, right?
Yeah.
Sitting there night after night after night, like I say, looking us in the eye and lying straight to our face. I listened to a lady on the radio, it was NPR last week, and she was talking about what was going on in America. And Mark, I could have been listening to a radio announcement from the book 1984. It was 180 degrees, and I sat there going, I told Tanya, this is utterly astounding that she is recounting what is happening as though it's 180 degrees opposite of what I'm watching with my own eyeballs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Just like Winston in 1984.
Oh,
Paid to restructure the entire thing. It was his job.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Genius
yes.
book.
Oh, man.
Genius book.
You know, regarding truth and lying, it says in James 5:19, it speaks of straying from the truth. So I think it's very important to say, just because we're to walk in the truth and to practice the truth, to be obedient to the truth, but also be aware we live in a world that is so full of lies, it is not that hard to stray from the truth. Romans 1:25, they exchanged the truth of God for a lie. 2 Timothy 4:4, the time will come when they will turn away their ears from the truth and will turn aside to myths. So I don't want to be what I would call receptive to the lies that are out there, and I think there's some hard attitudes. So picture a pastor preaching a watered-down gospel, but it's full of a church with itching ears. It's almost a symbiotic relationship. And so I don't want to be have a hard attitude receptive to that. And so I think one of the things is I want to surround myself and tell people, you are free to speak into my life truth. I'm not going to get mad. I'm not going to get moody. Please speak truth. But if you have somebody that says, I want you to tell me what I want to hear, not what I need to hear. Now you're starting to be receptive to the truth. I like a scripture in Isaiah 30:10. Isaiah is talking about what the people tell the prophets. They say, do not prophesy to us truth. Speak to us pleasant words. Prophesy illusions. So if I get to the point where I want to hear what I want to hear, it's a dangerous ground. There's a possibility
I'll only
of
listen to a
truth.
pastor, teacher, speaker, person if they are saying what I like. Right?
Yes.
It's why on my show, I said it in the classroom to my students, but it's why on the show I've said it many times. If your pastor says something that's true but hard out of Scripture or that's relevant for today's culture, where he calls something out in a prophetic, like, go up and thank him. Go up and thank him. And I've done that on occasions where I didn't even like what he said. Or maybe it particularly zinged me, like convicted me. I still will go up and say, thank you so much for having the courage to talk to us like that, because there's so much happy TED Talk I want to tickle your
Yes.
itching ears, and I want you to come back, and I want you to bring $5 when you come back, and I don't want anyone to not like me, so please come back. And Christians are winsome. After all, Christians are winsome, so we only get happy stuff. No, I don't want. In fact, I couldn't sit under a pastor who only did hellfire and brimstone. But
Yeah.
there are times when a directed prophetic kind of word, hey, folks, this is not the heart of Christ. Man, go up and thank him. Go up and thank that
Yes.
pastor, because it's pretty rare anymore.
It is. Yeah. I need truth. I need to love it. I need to be under it. I need to be obedient
Yeah.
to it. And if I'm around somebody who's compromising, I'm becoming
Yeah.
receptive to those lies, the temptation to stray. So that's important.
Yeah.
I think.
No, those are piercing scriptures. I love how the scriptures understand the human heart. We like to just start to stray from the truth, right? We enjoy the straying, even tell ourselves silly little stories and myths and narratives to soothe ourselves, I guess, or maybe to have control. I don't know.
Yeah. And sometimes it's a disciplined manner. You can stray from eating healthy. You can stray from the exercise
Right.
program you're on. Whatever I do, there's the nature of the flesh that's directed toward a
Right.
sloth, mental, emotional,
Right.
physical. And people don't talk that much about the mental and emotional sloth. They mainly think of sloth as a physical
Right.
thing, but there's a mental sloth that
Yeah.
says, "Hey, I'm gonna trust this
Right.
teacher. Everything he says must be true, because then I don't have to
Oh
think
my
as much.
gosh.
I'm gonna trust the experts, or this guy's the official guy, or this is the consensus." And now they're starting to get lies and misconceptions in their life. It's because they haven't they have mental sloth. They will not study to show themselves
Right.
approved, or they don't love truth enough to say, I'm going to be exercising, training my
Yeah.
mind to discern good
Yeah.
and evil, because it's possible to
Yeah.
compromise.
Well,
and
it goes
stray.
to kind of what we talked about last week, where there is a system, a worldly system, which is opposed to Christ and his word and his gospel and his children, right? And that worldly system will probably say anything to us to get us off that path, to get us to oppose the things of God and the character of God. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's strategic.
And we talked last week about the idea of the consensus because of
Yeah.
safety. I will become more popular if I'm going down the broad
Yeah.
road, and I'm aware of that. So there's a temptation to say, I am going to capitulate, not just in my actions, but in my thinking, because there will not be persecution, there will be popularity, there will
Right.
not be any problems.
Right. People will like me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
People will like me. And after all, we've been taught by that same system, the greatest virtue is being liked. And look, I like being liked.
Yeah.
I like being liked. But we can't want the world to like us more than our obedience and faithfulness to the things of Christ. We just can't.
Yes. Yes.
Or it'll gut us. It will
Yeah.
take that hunting knife out and gut us in a split second. We see it all the time. Yeah.
Time.
You had another one there.
Yeah, just the idea. Romans 12:2 says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." And when it talks about renewing my mind, I know a popular phrase and saying has been, "Don't believe everything you hear." But I like to take it one step further. Don't believe everything you think. Don't believe everything you presently think, because if the Bible says you need to transform your thinking, transformed by the renewing of your mind, that would imply to me there's probably lies and misconceptions presently in me, and I want to have the humility, the teachability to say, I have reasons why I believe what I believe, but I am open
Right.
to rethink life. Part of my sanctification is saying, Lord, I've lived a long time in the world. I wasn't raised as a Christian. I've got some stuff to undo in my
Right.
thinking. And there are probably lies and misconceptions in there that are so at home that I hardly know it's
Right.
there, and it would take a searching by the Holy
Yes.
Spirit.
Or your wife.
Or my
Come examine me, Holy Spirit. Well, your wife's been telling you for 8 months.
Remember one guy said, I'm not worried about any lie detector. I married one. I married one.
That's good. No, I think that's part of the nature and the gift of marriage. It's also the part of the gift of community, right? Is that
Yes.
if things are functioning at any kind of modicum of decency, we will hold one another accountable. And we will
Yes.
say, well, we know that before Christ we processed it that way, but we don't do it that way anymore. That's not how we think.
Yes.
That's not how we're going to look
Yes.
at this anymore. Whew, but
Yeah.
people get so defensive, right?
I bet you could take almost any dysfunction in the world, and there's a Christianized
Oh
form
my
of it.
gosh.
When somebody comes to Christ, keeps their wrong thinking
Ooh.
and Christianizes
Okay, so there's a whole, I'm going to put that down on a list of things you and I could talk about. Christianized secular madness.
Yes.
But can
Christianized
you think of
dysfunction.
one? Because you were already going in that direction. Where were you going? Well, give me one.
Let me think if I can think of one.
The image of God. We're all creating the image of God. So God loves us inherently. I believe that's the wiring of creation. So since I'm created in the image of God, I'm special. And since I'm special, people should give me stuff. And the
Oh, I
government
like
should
that.
give me stuff. Right? I don't think
Yes.
that's too far of a stretch where this goes. Again, back to a consumerist culture where
Yeah.
of course I should get free blank. I'm me.
Go-
I'm special.
God provides, and the government is the means
Right.
of providing.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy, you could go
Oh
any
my
direction
goodness.
with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, he wants me happy. He wants me trial
Yeah.
free in my
Yeah.
life, and so he understands that I need to do this because this is how he wants me. He wants
Oh
me
man,
happy.
the examples would be legion. We'll
Boy,
for
they
everyone
would.
we list off, we'll lose 5,000 people. List.
Yeah. That-
Oh my goodness. Let me take this one other direction. But truth telling and lying more broadly goes to how do we frame ethics.
yeah.
So right now, when I was teaching an ethical component in a class, I learned that the reigning ethical framework in Western civilization is called egocentric. And basically it just means whatever makes me happy is ethical. It's a pretty it becomes dog eat dog really fast, but it's very hedonistic.
Yeah.
A more older model is called virtue ethics, where we're even from Greek antiquity woven through Christianity, we want to be a certain person. We want to be a person of virtue. So for 2,400 years, Western civilization has had this emphasis upon virtue and character building. And for hundreds of years, they would educate on character. Now there's no character education and public education at all, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's virtue ethics, and then there's the one that probably colors most of the Western world's imaginations on ethics, which is just utilitarianism. I want to do the greatest amount of good for the greatest amount of people. To which the ethicist's challenge is you don't know really what the greatest good. And almost always it's impossible to measure for the greatest amount of people. So we'll make utilitarian decisions, but often there's no way of measuring side A or side B of that. So the virtue ethicists believe they hold the trump cards, like, no, you just should always do the virtuous thing, in which case, back to our opening salvo at a surprise party, you should never lie to somebody that you're throwing a surprise party for them, because you're staining your own character, right?
Yes.
I think somewhere in the mix of all those is where Christians would land. Practically, I would be terrified to know how many Christians just live by ego-driven ethics. Maybe the little more mature would be utilitarian. Maybe the old white-haired Christ-loving, maybe you don't have to be old, would say, no, I want to be virtuous because Jesus was.
Yes.
And I think those are worth considering as we think about lying and truth-telling.
I think so.
I heard Eric Metaxas say something, and goodness, it's been 2 or 3 months ago on his radio show. He talked about a missional ethics, and I'd never heard anyone say that phrase before, and I actually haven't thought it through much, except that it really delved together nicely what I think Jesus was doing with the way he taught. I don't think Jesus was teaching we should be virtuous just to be the best person ever. And it sounds blasphemous to say that. I think Jesus was teaching we should be virtuous or have holy character or have upright character because God is, but I don't even think it's just reduced to because God is. I think Metaxas is right to suggest that we don't lie because it doesn't accord with the mission of the kingdom. Lying doesn't help us get to where the kingdom's headed. Truth-telling helps us get to where the kingdom is headed. We don't lie to our neighbor because we don't want to violate our neighbor, which is a good reason, or we don't want to violate our own character, which I think is a really good reason. We don't want to violate our relationship with God, which is a super tremendous reason. We don't lie because it doesn't serve our neighbor well or ourselves in terms of the mission of the gospel, the mission of transformation, the mission of the whole universe worshiping and adoring Jesus Christ, right? And like I say, I haven't thought down that line much, but it does help me make sense. And I mentioned this to you when we were talking privately. It does make me make sense of things like, no, I do not have any Jews in my basement.
Yes.
Because then I'm saying, actually, that's a virtuous lie. It's not only just a lie that I can ask for forgiveness later and know that God or the priest or God will forgive me. It's actually a virtuous lie. Why? Because it's serving the nature of the mission.
Of the mission, yes. To love your neighbor. I would want to save him from a potential murder. Do I owe a potential murderer the truth? Would I not, in fact, want to deceive him so that he's not able to harm somebody? Yeah.
And I shouldn't have brought it up with it. Maybe it should be its own separate episode when I've given it more thought or studied it more. But there's something about that really rings true for me, because I come against this all the time, and I did last week with you. Christianity's not therapy. So the goal of Christianity is not to make me a better person, which even saying that, I just lost 42,000 people today, right? The goal is to serve the mission of what Christ came to do. And we're all on that team. We're all part of that body. We're part of the body of Christ that's working for the same goals and ends that Christ did. Therefore, there actually may be legitimate times when one might lie if it served the mission, and that will just open up a huge can of worms to even say so.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
I do.
Right, because normally you'd say, well, are you lying to save one Jew? The utilitarian. Are you lying to save one Jew, or are you lying to save 100 Jews? Are you lying? Because the greatest cost for the greatest. Are you going to save 1,000 people, or are you going to save one baby?
Yes.
Well, I'm not against that necessarily, but I wonder if the mission of being faithful to what Christ would have us do
Mm-hmm.
to further his kingdom, which is itself a loaded term. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there for
Yeah.
a possible Christian way of configuring ethics.
I like that, centered around service
Yeah.
and love. I don't not have an affair. I don't have an affair because, or try not to, because I'd be holier, because I'd be a better
Right.
person. I want to love my
Right.
wife. I want to grow up and be like Christ. I want a community that way. I'm not a womanizer because it's more a better person. I want to grow
Right.
up. I want to be an
Right.
adult. I want to be a father. I want to be a husband. And society needs me to
Right.
grow up. And so it's not about me just being better. I'm aware that I want
Right.
to not do those things. But I really think there's the idea of whatever is inhibiting me, I'm going to lay that down so I can bear fruit, make a difference. What a joy to say, God, you've given me a gift. Whatever gift I'm given, I want to find. I want to lay
Right.
hold of that for which I was laid
Right.
hold of, and I want to lay down those things that hinder, rather than saying, no, this is one long self-improvement
Right.
thing. Jesus was a religious teacher who had great life
Guru.
principles, and it's like, no, he's God, and
Yeah.
he said, Mark, I've created you with giftings. But like a piano that has sticky keys, I want you to unstick
good.
some and let me touch them. I've got music to play
Yeah.
through you, but it's not, the focus is not on you. You can be so blessed when
Right.
you see, oh my gosh, God has used me to bless
Yeah.
others, and then the Spirit of Christ comes through, rather than I'm self-absorbed with my own self.
That's outstanding. I think that's a good place to end today's fun and rambling conversation on truth telling versus lying. Thanks for being with me, Mark.
You're
Good to
welcome,
have you
man.
here.
It's been great.